Hello everyone, and welcome to I think the third match in this week of Windrose Mina Grand Slam tournament. We got Zep versus LIeethenoob coming up. On paper, this should be the closest match at the qualifiers. So we'll see how this match goes. Not sure if this is gonna be a classic Rice versus LN, but we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, definitely looking at the seedings, they are very close. The closest, in fact, of the round of 64, 32 versus 33, Zut versus LIeethenoob. And, well, I mean, looking at the stats here, looks like Zut's a bit of an LN player. Middle of the pack when it comes to hybrids, and then a bit lacking in Rice. And I actually think it's around the same for LIeethenoob as well, where they did pretty decent hitting above their seed for LN, and especially hybrid, but also lacking a bit in the Rice department. So again, maybe we'll see a couple of picks from each of them in either LN or hybrid, whatever they prefer. But really what I think it comes down to is what's going to go with all of the Rice picks in question.
Yeah, definitely. You can see LIeethenoob has also a good hybrid score, but I think they're quite evenly matched when it comes to Rice.
Yeah. So pretty exciting matchup, and once again, this is going to be first to 4. So not a lot of time for people to make mistakes, because if you do, might end your winner's bracket run already. And as we load up the first warm-up here, seems like it is going to be Zut's warm-up. And excuse me, wrong difficulty. We got the 7K one loading in the 4K one. Quite the long one. It seems like pretty hybridy warm-up as well, where there's a good variation in both Rice notes and long notes, about 50-50 all the way through, and got 3.5 minutes to tell which one is better at which.
Yep, and it seems to be around the map pool star level, and quite high OD too.
Yeah, I mean, hitting at 3.43 stars, so it actually seems like this is maybe around that level of where the pool is at in terms of difficulty. So this might be a really, really good test, not only for Zut, but also for LIeethenoob as well, to see how things go, probably more so in the hybrid lineup. So, I mean, hey, I'm always for when players choose good warm-ups and not funny ones, honestly. It really feels like a good idea to try to get a sense of what your opponent is bad at. And if you can get any slice of info available to you as early as possible, even if it is in the warm-up phase, then that could be really, really good for your game plan going forward.
Definitely starting out with that's kind of quite dense, but regular notes. Definitely interesting song.
Yeah, really interesting song. Nothing too crazy, just like really broken jump stream, a couple of jacks. But it seems like in terms of early game Rice, Zut is kind of taking a bit of the lead with it. It's not too much, only by the span of about 1,000 points, but it does seem like it is there. So as we get into this faster section, it seems like the lead kind of deepens for Zut.
Yeah, somewhat of a ratio lead, I guess, and but I think both these players, combo-wise, can do quite equally.
Yeah, for sure. And well, now we're getting into a pure LN section, so this map doing a very good job in segmenting both Rice and LN difficulty. And yet again, it seems like Zut's just having the better time when it comes to ratio on this map. Both of them not super clean, a couple of slower inverse sections here and there, and Zut taking a lot of 200s, however, both coming through with the full combo still intact. And, you know, these patterns are very, very, I guess, simple, but I guess LIeethenoob cannot hang with the more extended inverse patterns. So it's a bit of a lead here, and LIeethenoob actually dropping down to sub 99% accuracy.
Yeah, so even though Sut did drop accuracy, it doesn't help here in the end. Lead extending a bit more.
Kind of seems like Zut has that edge in both, I guess, Rice and Ellen. I would say though, for the most part, the Ellen patterns you see in this map aren't really representative of what you'll see in the round of 64 and the pool that they're playing on. So, you know, it's not super set in stone as to who's gonna take what map immediately, though skills kind of tipping towards Zut in my mind at least.
Yeah, keeping up the accuracy and the combo so far.
And I think
for them.
Yeah, and the big thing is there's not really any hybrid patterns either, which is what LIeethenoob is really good at as well. I think scoring above Zut, so Zut had a 32nd place in hybrid 1 for the qualifiers, whereas LIeethenoob pretty impressive 19th finish. So again, I think LIeethenoob is probably going to tend towards that hybrid side of things if they get the chance. But with the warm-up done, we can go on into the rolls.
And I'm curious what they both be banning. If they'll just be targeting each other's high seeds on the qualifiers, or whether they'll just choose the high skill cap maps.
Yeah. Alright, and we're gonna go ahead and see that that's actually gonna lose the roll here with a 52 to LIeethenoob 71. And so LIeethenoob going to get that option for the first protect. Let's see what they're gonna choose.
Rice 4 being protected actually.
Yeah, I just have to make sure really quick that they do mean Rice 4 because
yeah. LR Rice 4 free is not a pick, I don't think.
So yeah, I mean, interesting protect from them going for Rice 4 instead of a hybrid like we would have thought, especially with that really high placing. But should be fine. Honestly, yeah. If they're confident on Omni, something more Jackie, then seems good to them.
Yeah, in terms of like the rhythmic side of things, and like I think it's one of the lesser tech maps in the pool, so maybe that's what they're going for.
And we are gonna see an Ukigumo ban from Zut. Pretty interesting as well, but I mean, hey, very straightforward jump stream where it comes down to an accuracy battle can be very scary, especially in the early rounds. So, I mean, hey, Zut's just trying to get rid of any inconsistencies. Maybe they don't feel too bad about any of that, but just seems like the best choice for them. So, total Rice versus LN battle going on in this match, kind of like what you said at the start.
Might be what we're going for. And we see LN1 being banned, the release-oriented LN map from Lee.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot more of these LN1 bans from people that aren't super confident on long notes. It's always release that's the first to go, and LIeethenoob actually going for hybrid 2 first. So very interesting choice with them opting for Silent Siren.
Yeah, Silent Siren being the kind of the traditional sort of ranked map.
Yeah, it's a pretty Jackie if I remember correctly. A lot of Jack representation, kind of like Omni. So LIeethenoob definitely feeling it as maybe a player that's confident in Jack your patterns, especially when it comes to acting them. So very much in vein or in line with their protect. We're gonna have to see how it turns out because again, LIeethenoob is the lower seed. We're gonna have to see if upset is in motion here.
I'm getting into the pick here. I would say this is somewhat coordination oriented. Like you always need to do jacks while holding LNs. So in that sense, it is hybrid in a weird sense. Not the usual pick.
Seems like for now, in this beginning section, LIeethenoob correctly picking as Zut actually misses maybe a bit of trouble with holding that long LN anchor. So LIeethenoob really strong start with this match. 99.51 accuracy, but it's still enough to beat Zut in terms of both combo and accuracy, as Zut taking quite a bit of late 200s. Maybe that's some in part of the releases needed with the LNs, but I mean, it's doing LIeethenoob very well.
Yeah, 10k in the lead there, halfway through the map. This is the shortest map in the map also. It's looking quite scary here for Zut.
Oh yeah, there's not a lot of time in this map. At a minute 41, that's already shorter than most other maps that you'll find in tournament play. And so with us being 2/3 of the way into the map, I mean, Zut did take an early break and it could still be traded off, but it really needs to happen quickly as, yes, LIeethenoob has a bit of a advantage in terms of accuracy, but accounting for Zut's miss, I feel like Zut has the better ratio overall, strangely enough.
Yeah, he's caught up nicely for having missed.
Yeah, really good recovery. However, it is just not going to be enough. 10,000 points, the difference as the map ends off, and LIeethenoob secures their first pick and takes the lead.
That was a confident pick, won by 10,000 there. I'm surprised how well Zut managed to keep up even after a miss. Even catching up in accuracy in the end.
Yeah, not bad overall. I think almost a 4-to-1 MA ratio with 3 greats as compared to LIeethenoob. Slightly worse ratio with the 300s and 1 extra great. However, yeah, it does look like with that 50, it was a slider break. So a bit of trouble in terms of holding that long note anchor. But Zut's going to try to strike back on. What was his downfall? LN2 is going to be the pick from them, and really, it seems like as long as they can hold on to the note and release properly, they've got in the bag.
Yeah, definitely. I'm moving on to another TV size map again. This the LN2 is like LN density oriented, so it's less release and more just it throws LN statue basically.
Exactly. It's really a test of how many columns you're comfortable with in terms of finger independence and coordination. So, I mean, honestly, at round of 64, it's really nothing much. However, with both of them taking a bit of a shaky start, currently this map is very much up in the air, it seems.
We'll see where the lead extends here. We got a slight lead from LIeethenoob, but it's hard to tell thus far.
Yeah, LIeethenoob actually seems very comfortable, especially with these 1/8 or 1/6 LNs. Except for now, as they actually take a miss. And I was gonna say, you know, this map is pretty simple overall. A lot of 1/4 LNs, or even longer than that. Very simple one-hand switches, or just like not too many columns changing at a time. However, that coordination coming back to bite LIeethenoob in the butt, as Zut is very much so in the lead. 20,000 points, way greater than how Hybrid 2 went, but they actually are going to take a miss as well.
Only a quarter left of the map there, and even with a miss, I mean, the lead is getting smaller here.
Yeah, it's still very possible. I think another miss is probably needed for Zut, but that is quite shocking. I think Zut's miss overall very clean as to LIeethenoob, where they took a couple of dirty judgments along with it. So even though it was shaky, Zut is actually going to secure their pick as well and ties it up 1-1.
Yeah, despite Lee's early breaks. Or no, not despite him's break, but Zut missing in the middle, however... No, that was side break, actually.
Yeah, I think with LIeethenoob not missing and Zut not missing as well, I think it would have been actually really, really close, but still edged towards Zut. They did have a bit of a worse ratio, but really that extra 200 and that 100 as well probably would have done LIeethenoob in anyways.
That was the deciding factor here. Next pick, Rise Free, which is the more techy map in the Rise pool. Lots of grace notes, quite bursty.
Definitely a very cool one. Fun fact, this was actually going to be in Datascape's Intermediate Cup as a round of 64 pick if we had reached that team limit, but ended up as a soft reject due to not enough teams, technically not enough teams registering. We were considering it for a round of 32 in that tournament, but decided to just abandon it and use it somewhere else. And it ended up being here, and I think it works out really well. I think you don't see a lot of Biosphere maps in this star rating, so it's always fun to get that like FFR techie style kind of map in these lower pools.
Yeah, definitely, and it's hard to find techie maps for this star range, so it's good that maps can be used in other tournaments if they end up not coming in for other ones.
Yeah, it works out really well. I mean, there's definitely enough in here to make you shake your accuracy. A couple of flams if you're not prepared, and some of these bursts in here as well are quite rigorous. So, I mean, especially when you are picking this map, you have to be on your toes at all times, as I think it's, I would say, probably the trickiest Rice pick of the pool.
Yeah, a lot of the difficulty is very bursty, and you have to really lock in for what's coming. A small accuracy lead for Zut beginning here.
Yeah, it's leading to about 2,000 points, as LIeethenoob actually taking a lot of earlier hits trying to crush the patterns. However, it doesn't turn out too well for them when it comes to accuracy, as Zut still hanging on by a decent amount. So now that 2,000 points ballooned into 6,000 and a fourth of the map left. A couple of flams thrown your way, a couple of broken jump streams, jacks here and there. And it seems like everyone is doing just fine. However, LIeethenoob really needs something on Zut's side to happen in order to take this map.
Yeah, Zut's accuracy really solidifying his lead right now. 8k in the lead.
Yeah, amazing accuracy. 99.6 from a mid-seed on a map like this is actually kind of crazy to think about. I mean, Zut just doing a standout job on this map and securing that point with that serene finish. Wow, only 3 200s from them. Definitely a scary score. 987 is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, absolutely. Both better overall accuracy and the ratio here. Winning Zut the point.
Yeah, and Zut actually gunning it for their protect. It is 2-1, so it's probably one of the best times to launch it as Bathtub Mermaid comes into play. Both players going to try their hand at a bit of wildcardy. There's a good amount of releases, a good amount of coordination in this map. Very, very, very tricky.
Yeah, I like to call like the LN3. Like it's basically the middle ground between LN1 and LN2. Not too hard in the coordination, not too hard in the density, but it's got both. it's gonna throw both of you at him.
Exactly, and I mean, both players starting out pretty well. A couple of staggered one-hand releases that could be tricky, and at this on this map, you're essentially holding two columns down most of the time with a couple of hand switches and such. So, I mean, both of them are actually doing very well when it comes to accuracy, not really feeling too overwhelmed in terms of consistency or coordination, as they're both on 900k or 990k pace, and actually very, very close in terms of accuracy right now.
Yeah, there's really nothing catching them off right now. Just a slightest lead for Zut, but...
Oh man,
200
coming
Lee.
out from Lee. That's gonna hurt them just a little bit, and I mean, Zut I think took one as well, but hanging on by the tiniest thread halfway through the map. And again, some of these like one-hand staggered releases can be tricky. Some of these offbeat releases, as well as LIeethenoob takes yet another late 200. So really, I think that's the main killer of maps like these when you're starting out in LNs, where you feel the pressure of the coordination and release too late. And Zut actually feeling the pressure here as they take a very dirty miss, going down to 99.3%, but more importantly, giving over the lead to LIeethenoob.
Yeah, lead's just skyrocketing there in the favor of Lee. A miss is really... like, that's the last thing you want to do on this map.
Yeah, there's not a lot of objects, so misses really, you feel it within your bones when you miss, and you see it. I mean, 18,000 points for LIeethenoob as the map closes out. That is really, really good performance, and we see that FCs are really what matter here. A lot of these maps that we've gone through so far, you know, we haven't had too many double FCs. I think one of them on Rise 3, I believe, is the only double FC. So very much so, it seems like, yes, these players are good at LN and hybrid respectively when it comes to the rest of the field, but I mean, you have to hold for the entirety of the map is what matters the most.
Yeah, that seems to be what swings the lead in their favor in most of these picks.
So finally gonna get into LIiethenoob's Protect. Rice 4, pretty jacky all around and quite scary. I think, again, both players, it's pretty close enough to where you can expect a double FC from the both of them. Map is pretty tricky, but I mean, I wouldn't say as tricky as Easy God Library. So really, it's gotta come down to the accuracy, and very much so on a map like this where the whole point of it is to test your jack skill. Both players, big quest ahead of them to FC the map, really.
Yeah, and although not as tricky as Rise 3, it can catch you off guard with some of the stream transitions. So we'll see. There's a pretty close ratio here to begin with. Just the slightest lead from Lee to start us off.
Yeah, again, this was his Protect, and I had called it where they could feel pretty confident on jack accuracy if this is their Protect, but they actually take, I think, 2 early 200s, probably expecting a flam or something like that. But, I mean, the main point is that Zut has this lead, and LIeethenoob actually dropping with that transition. It was not pretty at all. Going from a high 99 to sub 99 is never what you want to see. And again, in the round of 64, lots of these maps, they don't have a lot of objects. A miss could pretty much mean a lead that is unsalvageable unless the other player misses as well. So, I mean, it's still entirely within the realm of possibility that Zut misses. It's just they've been hanging on so well that it has to happen really in one of these stream transitions or something like that in order for LIeethenoob to even have a semblance of a comeback.
Yeah, missing here is absolutely detrimental, and not being a clean one either, really. I think they rushed some notes. The building, well, barely building back to 99.
Yeah, so it seems so confident. There's a lot of very, very long anchors on one column for one or two measures at a time, and seems like they're handling it very, very well. LIeethenoob finally clawed back up their accuracy, but again, that miss and everything else that went along with it was so devastating that it's just too hard. And especially with this outro being very, very calm, there's not enough time in the map left for a comeback. And so that's actually going to take it all the way to match point with their pick. That's a very scary thing, being down your opponent's at match point and they have the pick. Never a situation you want to be in.
Absolutely, and I guess the fact that they're the closest seeds on paper is, I guess that contributes to why misses are so important. They both might be equally. They have the equal chances to miss. In my head, at least, that.
I totally get that. It's very, very. It's a very funny thing that happens sometimes in matches, and with Zut going for their last pick, it is going to be maybe one of the hybrids. So I think they are going to go for hybrid 1 actually here. Yeah, we do have confirmation that both hybrids will be played. Not something you see every day in matches where the rice gets left over and the hybrids are all chosen. So quite special to see that in match, and so trying to close this out before they get to tiebreaker. It is so important that they close it out, because again, if they can't win on a hybrid like this, tiebreaker is going to be really rough too, because as per usual, tiebreakers have a lot of those hybrid qualities.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it makes sense to pick hybrid 1 here. If Zut is sort of relying on misses and whatnot, there's a lot of mini jacks and the grace notes, and there's a lot of tricky patterns that can catch you off guard here. Easily just break your focus and your combo.
Yeah, and I can see the line of thinking. It's just I'm very worried because looking back at the rest of the match so far, Zut had actually taken the only two rice maps that were chosen. So I was kind of questioning it on why they didn't pick the other, any of the other rice maps in the pool, like rice 2 or rice 5. But I mean, hey, whatever floats your boat, I guess. But Zut does have a little bit of ground to make up, as they are down in score by just a little bit.
Not a clear O, but we see another slider break or a miss from Lee. That's gonna swing the lead in favor of Zut by quite a margin.
Yeah, I think you were gonna say that there's not like a clear leader at the moment, but a bit of a commentator's curse, as LIeethenoob does take quite the miss. Very much so, though. Zut could miss on a map like this, because I mean it is pretty tricky. A lot of shorter long notes are kind of that focus on the map. However, there's a couple of quicker jack sections, as well as some coordination tricks coming up on this map that where Zut could miss, and we've seen it time and time again in this match, where I don't think we've gone through an LN map or hybrid map where they had a double FC. So I mean, LIeethenoob already made it so that there was not going to be a double FC, but that could still very much so miss.
Yeah, the possibilities there. They're looking quite good, both accuracy-wise and, well, obviously combo-wise. But getting into pretty anchory LN section. Not fully LN, but let's see if Zut can hold up there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say based on accuracy that they're the most confident on a map like this, but it seems like they are holding on decently well. I mean, 99.5 definitely means that you've taken a lot of 200s, and from what I've seen, a lot of them have been on the long notes, but LIeethenoob actually missing on that rice burst, could not hang, especially with the long note that accompanied it. It is very, very tricky. It's not really in the section that you'd expect it to be in, and I think it caught LIeethenoob off guard. So as it stands, Zut seems like they are going to run away with this match unless something crazy happens.
It seems to be that way. I think Zut's strong suit, if I'm noticing correctly, is definitely just being consistent. At least in longer maps. They can outlast the opponent. At least from what we've seen.
And match is going to finish. Zut is going to be the victor, narrowly avoiding an upset. I mean, it was very much a good game, and as what you'd expect from seed 32 versus 33, but Zut just edging out LIeethenoob in the end through order of consistency. And so, good game and well played to both of these players. Zut is going to move ahead into the winners bracket, round of 32, whereas LIeethenoob is still going to have that second shot just in the losers bracket. So one more loss from them and they're out. But thankfully, I think they should have an easier time in the round of 32 losers bracket as they face a bit of an easier opponent compared to Zut. So, I mean, well played to both players. We still have a lot of matches coming up. It was, I think, the third match of this weekend, and it's only Friday, so a lot more coming at you later on for the next couple of days. Crossbow, any other thoughts or comments to make before we sign off?
Good luck to all the players this weekend. Gonna be a lot of matches and a lot to look out for. So make sure to strap in your seatbelts and watch the matches, play the matches, and play the map pool.
Yeah, so stay tuned for the rest of the weekend because we got a lot of good matches coming up. And I think we'll be signing off here. We'll come back live in, I believe, 6 hours from now. That's going to be Lamp versus Bappy. That's a pretty good match from two tournament veterans. So be very excited for that. We'll catch you guys later. And yeah, that's about it.
Yep.